Good day. Today we will be recalling the Experiential Learning Cycle by David Kolb. Why recall? Because I know that we already learned this during our undergraduate studies and even during our masteral. So we have here three objectives. The first one is we are going to define what is experiential learning cycle. The second one, we are going to discuss and give examples on the different stages of the experiential learning cycle. And the third one, we are going to determine the advantages of including experiential learning in managing, learning, and even in teaching. So, who is the proponent of this experiential learning cycle? So, we have here David Allen Kolb. So, he proposed the experiential learning cycle in the year 1984. He is an American educational theorist, and he believed that individuals could demonstrate their knowledge or the learning that occurred when they were able to apply the abstract concept to new situations. That is, the learners are going to apply whatever they have learned in their real life experiences. So this learning cycle is based on the assumption that people learn by doing or from direct experience. The second one, it focuses on the learner's personal development and perspective. And the last one, the learner is responsible to guide his learning process. But in here, of course, the learner could choose which learning styles is appropriate to them, and they are going to have their own track on their learning process, but with the guidance of their teachers. So experiential learning cycle allows students to apply knowledge in real life situations. So that is through allowing them to explore, experience, to observe, and to reflect on the things they are experiencing. The second one, it helps students retain information. So since these learners were able to connect whatever they learned to their real life experiences, then surely the retention of learning would last longer. And through this cycle, it encourages students to engage in active participation in critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, collaboration, and communication skills. There are two goals in experiential learning process according to David Kolb. The first one is to learn the specifics of a particular subject. And the second one is to learn about one's own learning process. So we will come to know later on that aside from the stages of this experiential learning cycle, we have also the four dimensions or the different learning styles that the students are going to use in learning. So we have here the stages of the Kolb's experiential learning cycle. So as you can see on the graph, on the presentation, so it is a cycle. You may begin on whichever stage do you want, as long as you are going to continuously use the cycle. You are going to continuously use all the four stages so that you are going to complete a learning cycle. So let me start with the first one, concrete experience. So the first that I'm going to discuss on these stages of this experiential learning cycle is the concrete experience. So in here, the students are going to have their first-hand experience on what is happening to them. So stated here that each learner engages in an activity or task. So the teacher will give a task that will lead to the learner to experience, to feel, to observe what's going on in their environment, or how do they going to experience a thing that will further lead them to the exploration of what are they going to learn. So Kolb believed that the key to learning is involvement. So we should involve the students in learning through experience. So the next stage is on reflective observation. It is reviewing or reflecting on the experience. After the learner was able to experience the things or the activity or the task, then it's now time for reflection based on what he or she experienced. So this stage in the learning cycle allows the learner to ask questions and discuss the experience with others. So if we recall a while ago, it is stated that experiential learning cycle allows or encourages communication among learners. So they are going to apply that now here, since they are going to ask questions based on their experience with other learners or even with their teachers in order to clear things out, and that will also promote the learning. So after experiencing and reflecting or asking question regarding the experience, the next stage now is the abstract conceptualization. So in here, the learner are going to conclude or learn from their experience. So to make sense of the events or the experience that they have uh, experienced or feel or observe, then the learner now attempts to draw conclusions of the experience by reflecting on their prior knowledge. So they are going to connect their understanding of their experience on what already they know and using ideas with which they are familiar or discussing possible theories with peers. After experiencing, reflecting, making conclusions of whatever they have learned, we now come to the last stage, that is active experimentation. So the students are now going to plan or try out what they have learned in another situation. So this stage is also known as the testing stage. Learners return to participating in a task, but this time with the goal of applying their conclusions to new experiences. So they are going to test whether their conclusion is correct if it is applied in another situation. So they are able to make predictions. They are going to analyze the task and make plans for the acquired knowledge in the future. So let's see how this experiential learning cycle stages is applied. For example, here we have sensing time. So how do we apply the four stages? So we start with the first one, which is the concrete experience. So you may ask the learner to reflect upon their experiences with time. So the teacher may ask questions to the learners. How are your experiences regarding time? For example, if you are waiting, like that. Then on the second stage, that is on reflective observation. So they are going to observe the passage of time. And on conceptualization, think critically about time, and then on active experimentation, how they might use time to accomplish things. Then we can include here values formation and others. Another application of experiential learning cycle, especially its stages that we can use, is on teaching gravity. So aside from lecturing, we could use this one. So first, we are going to ask students to reflect on their experiences with gravity. We can give them guide questions such as, have you seen any falling fruit? So why do you think the fruit fall? Like that. The second one is we are going to ask them to observe the effects of gravity on objects in the classroom. For example, you let the learner stand, you let the learner walk, so you are going to ask why you did not stumble or you did not fall. And then think of the causes of gravity. So you let the learners conclude why there is a gravity, what is the reason of having a gravity, and more. You can already include there already the lesson presentation. And the last one is to let the learner experiment with gravity by dropping objects off the edge of a table, or you can give more ways on how the learners will experience um, learning gravity. So I have here a situation wherein how to apply the different stages of the experiential learning cycle. So imagine you have just attempted to bake banana bread for the first time. And then, after removing your supposedly delicious banana bread from the oven, you notice that it is burnt from the top but is still raw inside. So, what should you do next to be able to achieve your goal, which is to bake a delicious banana bread? So, given this situation, we can apply the different stages of the experiential learning cycle. So, given already the experience, the stage on concrete experience, so we could reflect, we could create conclusion, and then we could experiment or try again. We could also apply this in different situations in our classroom, in teaching, and even in managing. So aside from the four stages of the experiential learning cycle, as I already said a while ago, the Kolb's has also four learning dimensions, wherein it is going to show us what are the possible learning styles that our students use in between the different stages. So we have here for the diverging or the feel and watch, the assimilating, the think and watch, converging, the think and do, and the accommodating or the feel and do. So on the diverging, the learners or the individuals see things from different perspectives, and they can use their imagination to show creativity in their learning styles. These learners prefer to watch rather than do, and their learning characteristic is reflective observation and concrete experience. So if you encounter the students such as like this, they feel like lazy doing things, but in reality they are very observant, so they fall under diverging. There are also students who can analyze and explore learning styles model well. So they show interest in technical tasks, with the logical format and conceptual framework. So these are the learners who wants to organize things, who wants to think beyond the box. Their main characteristics mostly include reflective observation and abstract conceptualization. So they are under assimilating. For learners who are willing to think and to do things, they are efficient problem solvers and they are considered as being practical in analytic approach to tasks and ideas. So these are the learners who are thinking deeply and they are going to try to experiment on things. So they are likely to converge on their desired answers and they are characterized by active experimentation and abstract conceptualization. So they are under converging. Under accommodating, these are learners who are more likely to be more practical in their learning experience. They mostly view problems from an intuitive perspective. They are fond of newfound knowledges and are mostly characterized by active experimentation and concrete learning. So these are the learners who are uh, always asking a teacher to, Mom, let's have an experiment. What? And they are also the one who are always wanting to have, let's apply this in real life. So, for example, in math, these are the learners who are always willing to ask, where would they apply this learning in real life situation? And then after that, the learners themselves are going to search where could they apply this. For example, the idea, one of the lessons is differentiation. So where would differentiation be applicable? Why are we learning this? So these are the kind of learners under accommodating. Another feature of the experiential learning cycle is, as you can see, the cross. What does this indicate? So this indicates that on abstract conceptualization and on concrete experience, the learners are going to grasp experiences. They are going to learn based on their experiences. While for active experimentation and reflective observation, the learning that they gain or they grasp, they are now going to transform into either creating another experience or applying another experience or connecting this experience to their prior knowledge. So those are the two, the meaning of the cross. No? This means again, for abstract conceptualization and concrete experience, the learners are going to gain or get or grasp experience. While for experimentation and reflective observation, they are going to transform whatever they get or they grasp experience into learning. So they are going to connect this to their prior knowledge or they are going to apply whatever they have learned in new situation. So after defining what is experiential learning cycle, describing or discussing the stages and its dimension, we are now on finding the advantages or benefits of this experiential learning to the students, to the teachers, to the managers, and those individuals who will be benefited if they are going to apply this experiential learning cycle in their respective activities. So let's start with benefits for students. The first one is it improves students' understanding of concepts and ideas. The chance to immediately apply the learning process to real-world experiences, which supports knowledge retention. So I've already discussed that a while ago. Next, it improves motivation. So as students are more excited about learning in real world situations. Of course, most of the learners are always willing to learn what they are already experiencing. What is that all about? Compared to learning abstract concepts. Next, promotion of learning through reflection, which depends and strengthens the learning experience. So they are not going only to experience or to feel or to watch, they are also going to reflect on the things they experience to conclude whatever learning they have to share with their peers or their teachers. Another benefit for the students include the chances to make good use of their preferred learning style or style of learning. So the student could choose where do they begin. Of course, if you are a learner and you want to start by feel or do, so you may start with concrete experiment. Or if you want to think and to apply it in real life situation, then you may start with experimentation already. So you are given the chance to make good use of your preferred learning style whenever you are a student. The next one is enhance teamwork, because experiential learning often involves working as part of a team. So it promotes collaboration among learners. Next, opportunity to prepare for future work through genuine, meaningful, real-world practice. And the chances to meet colleagues and potential employers. So one of the example of experiential learning is the immersion of our grade 12 students, and even the practice teaching of our future educators. In that way, they are going to meet other peers and even their potential employers. So aside from the benefit a learner may gain, also the teachers or the educators are also benefited from this experiential learning. So first, it allows educators to target more specific learning outcomes for the learners. Next, it allows you to develop highly engaging and appropriate learning opportunities for students to practice critical thinking and develop new perspective, supporting and preparing them for the real world workforce, since it is anchored on learning through experience. Next benefit for the educators, it helps in designing learning and reflection activities that allow students to learn in ways that suit their preferred learning style. So in here, we could cater individual differences through the experiential learning cycle. It also ensures the students develop skills that enhance employability and optimize their chances of future success. Another, it is used to create authentic problem-solving tasks. So this experiential learning will guide also the teachers or us in order to create tasks which could promote problem-solving skills, critical thinking, and creative thinking. It helps personalize any instructional techniques or intervention for learners. It enables us to design coaching exercises instructional techniques, and training sessions, which will motivate the learners to learn more and to engage more in learning. So aside from the learners and teachers in the educative process, employers or managers will also gain advantages if they are going to apply experiential learning in the way of their management. So how are they going to apply experiential learning? So in managing, they could apply the experiential learning through allowing their workers or employees to um, experience. Let them try to do things. Let them experience to do managing work. Let them try to experiment on the things that could lead to their being productive as a part of your group. And aside from that, you let them also to reflect on the things that they experience. So, what went wrong? What went right? And then, after reflecting or asking questions, they could share experiences with their colleagues. And after that, they could form conclusions or they could make plans on how to be a better employee. And then after that, they could try to apply whatever they have learned in another situation. So in that way, being employee applying the experiential learning, they are going to improve their skills. They are going to become more productive. And the managers or the employers will also be benefited. So, here are some of its benefits. First, identify and attract leading graduate talent. So, if these graduates will come to know that you as the manager is allowing experiential learning or allowing them to experience things so that they can learn to be a better, then of course they will be attracted and they are going to apply in your company. Next, build relationships with key stakeholders in your industry. So aside from the employee and employer relationship which will be strengthened, also the relationship between other stakeholders will also be strengthened. Next, provides a chance to upskill current workers. So that is what I am already telling a while ago, that it allows your employees to improve their skills and become more productive. Next, gives access to teams of highly motivated workers who are equipped with the latest knowledge. So these are the advantages of the experiential learning cycle by Kolb's with its dimensions and its stages. So hopefully these have using this presentation, I was able to impart to you some learnings regarding this experiential learning theory. And here are my references. So if you want to learn more about the experiential learning theory, if you want to read more and to gain more information, you could look for the following sources. So that's all, and thank you.